Welcome to Finding Family DNA, the show about finding and connecting birth families, with your host, Jay Rosenzweig, founder and CEO of BirthParentFinder.com. And now, here's Jay.
Hi, everyone. This is Jay Rosenzweig, the founder and CEO of BirthParentFinder.com. And welcome to episode 45 of Finding Family DNA. And unfortunately, we don't have Misty with us today. She's under the weather, but she'll be with us for our next episode. But I want to share with my audience what happened since our last episode and since our Mother's Day giveaway. That Mother's Day giveaway was so popular that we doubled subscribers. We started at 4,000 and we went to 8,000. And by the time this episode airs, we'll probably have over 10,000 subscribers to Finding Family DNA, and that's just amazing. And I want to thank everyone for their support. We do record these weeks in advance, so like I said, by the time this airs, we'll have way over 10,000 subscribers. And again, we tell you that this does support our pro bono cases, and our Mother's Day giveaway was a pro bono case, and you saw how well that worked out. And regarding today's episode, and like I said, Misty's not here. It didn't really involve solving this case with DNA, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring on our guest who's been a client of ours since December of 2020. This is one of the longest cases we've ever had, and we don't like when we don't solve these cases. We really don't. And we take it personal. And Linda Burleson, thank you for being here. And thank you for being so patient, Linda.
Thank you. It's a blessing to be here.
You were born in Houston, Texas. Where do you live now?
Pontotoc, Mississippi.
Okay. I don't know how far that is from Houston, but I've never been to Mississippi. But you grew up with the man who raised you, who was not your birth father. When were you told that this man was not your birth father?
8 years ago, my uncle in Houston, Texas, wanted my sister and I, who were raised as full sisters, to come to Houston to ask questions. And we didn't have any questions, but he told my sister, without me knowing it, that he didn't think I was my daddy's. So we were coming home from Houston, Texas, and she hadn't told me. And we pulled over. She said she couldn't handle it anymore, and she told me that I was not theirs. As in, I was not a Brandon.
And that was 8 years ago?
Yes, sir.
So it's not like growing up, being a teenager, being told, yes, the man who's raised you is not your birth father, and we don't know who that is. That didn't happen.
It happened. So we pulled over and we ordered ancestry tests right then, just to make sure, or to see what was going on. But all of my parents had already passed. So we didn't have any clues.
So there's really no one you could have asked at that time. And you took an ancestry test, and we know what your ancestry results showed. It didn't show much. And
no, sir.
From the time you took that test to the time you hired us, how long did that take?
How long did it take from when I got with y'all?
Yes.
I think I got with y'all in 22.
No, it was December of 2020, believe it or not.
What, 2020? Okay. But I wasn't getting any good results. Everything was third, fourth, fifth cousins. Nothing was close matches.
And you took a 23andMe test and any other test besides that?
The one with Heritage.
My Heritage. And I know
GED.
GEDmatch, and I know that was uploaded to GEDmatch. And
yes,
in going over this with Misty recently, and I asked her, why wasn't this case solved right away? And the answer was simple, because the DNA relatives were too low. There were NPEs all over the place, and we couldn't associate the lineage who's who matches who. We had no information on your birth father. We didn't really know where he was from. You were never told anything about him, were you?
No, sir.
So usually when we have these, we have some general idea of where the birth father was from, maybe, how old was he, what nationality he might have been, but we had nothing. We had nothing to go on, and there's no one in your ancestry results really to contact to solve this case. And first genealogist in 2020 couldn't solve it. We had another one in 2021 who couldn't solve it. Misty came along right after that, and she says, and I know she spoke with you, and she said, Linda, we're going to have to wait for a closer match. And that was 4 years ago when she started working for our company. And something happened, and I forgot, was it this year, correct? When your sister popped up, something happened. When you saw that match, what were you thinking?
Scam, maybe? No, I was thrilled. I saw it, and I saw that it was either an aunt or a half sister. So I wasn't hunting siblings. I was hunting for my birth name.
Right. And the person
records.
Who came up was a woman named Diane Bennett. And it basically had all her information. It had how old she was in an age range, where she was from, and she had a full tree put together. So you contacted us, and you had me, which is what we do, track Diane down because they don't list phone numbers or contact information in Ancestry. And I was able to get a hold of her. I have to remember how that transpired. And I know that we knew, based on me doing research, who her father was, and I believe that Diane was very cooperative, and we'll bring her on in a little bit, and like I said, the rest is history. But I was going to take a break, but I don't want to wait that long. I want to bring Diane Bennett in right now, and just how great she is for taking this test, and just being there 5 years later after you took an ancestry test. Diane, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
And the first thing I want to ask you is that you joined Ancestry more than 10 years ago, probably just to use their database. And we were going to talk about this, that why people don't take an ancestry test. They just join their database to get access to a lot of information that Ancestry has that other people don't. So you took your test, I don't know, within the last 6 months. Why did you take an Ancestry DNA test?
So my husband and I each lost our parents when we were in our late 40s, and we really didn't have a lot of background information. We were curious, and basically we saw the ad on television that they were half price, and we thought, okay, well, let's try it. Let's see what we can find out. That was really the only motivation. We were just checking out, kind of wanted to see if we were from Europe or Ireland or where, because I didn't have any background past my parents and grandparents. We just didn't have all the information.
So you went on your Ancestry account, you got your results, and this person, Linda Burleson, shows up. What were you thinking?
Well, I tell you, I still get goosebumps when I think about it. I was very excited. I had no clue, no idea, nothing in my past or when I was, when I lived at home, nothing made me think that I had a half sister anywhere or any siblings anywhere other than the one sibling that I had.
You knew this wasn't a scam, correct?
Well, first of all, I'm in real estate and my number is all over the place. So a lot of the numbers that I get, if I don't have a name attached to them, I usually just let them go to voicemail so that I can figure out if it is spam or if it's, one of my clients or anything. So that's what happened with you. You went to my voicemail, you left me a very detailed message, and then I was driving when I listened to it. I'm like, holy cow. So I hurried home and called you back. And that was it. And it's been exciting ever since that day.
And trying to remember our discussion, and were your parents they weren't married at the time, correct?
Yes, they were. They never divorced. They were separated multiple times throughout their marriage, but they were always married.
Got it. So they weren't living together. They were separated and free to do whatever they wanted at that time.
At which time? When
Linda was conceived?
I don't know, because I was really young. So
right. There's how many years between? 7 years between the two of you?
8 years. Yeah.
8 years.
7.5. Yeah. Yeah. So,
but it's not like they were living together and then he had an affair. They were separated, basically.
No, we don't know that. I don't recall my dad ever leaving, but again, I was young, so I'm not sure. But I don't think they were ever permanently separated. I'll leave it there. I mean, it was just the tumultuous relationship that they had, because they many times, I mean, it'd be 2-3 days they'd be separated and they get back together. So I don't really have the details on it, but I don't think they were necessarily separated. They may have been at the time, but I don't know.
And Linda, back when you were conceived, where was your mother living?
She had left my father, my dad, and was living with her mother. So the time frame that my uncle said was I could have been daddy's or I could have been someone else's by the time frame. But when I was born, my daddy just told my uncle he did not know, he didn't want to know, and I was his. And so that was the end of that.
And Diane, where was your father living at that time?
In Houston.
That's where we
were. My family lived together in Houston.
Right. So they were both living in Houston at the time. Obviously, neither one of you live in that area now. Diane, when did you leave Houston?
We left a couple of times. We moved back and forth, ironically, to Mississippi, but a totally different part of the state. Had nothing to do with where Linda Gale's family was. It was just coincidence that we were from the southern part of Mississippi. And so my parents moved back there. I think, and honestly, when I try to put the information together, that I have a feeling that they may have gone back to Mississippi because they had been separated and had problems, and then maybe he came back because we went back together. We didn't live separately. So that's the only thing I can figure.
And then getting back to the connecting you two, Diane, why were you so receptive to connecting with Linda right away?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I just think that it was an amazing experience to hear it. And my brother and I were not raised real close together. He left home when he was really young, went in the service. And we just weren't, so we didn't have that really close sibling relationship. So, and I think I just always knew that I had a sister somewhere, and I wanted her.
and it's funny because
she's got me.
We hear that a lot from siblings that we connect that didn't have a sister growing up. Yeah. And then later on, you hear them say, I always wanted a sister. And that happens quite often. And
I bet it does.
That's probably one of the reasons why this worked out so well. And then after I spoke to you, you guys contacted each other. What was that like in that first phone conversation?
Natural.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't think it was awkward. I expected it to be, but I did not feel awkward at all. And then, of course, I saw her picture and I started seeing some resemblances, and she opened her mouth and I knew she was from Mississippi. Yeah, I mean, it was just, it was elation. I can't really think of a lot of words to describe it, but I was very happy about it.
And
my wording on it is this was a God thing. For one thing, 2 to 3 weeks before Diane popped up, I was giving up. I had told my fiance, I said, I'm done. I'm tired of the roller coaster ride. It tore me up at the very beginning with my identity brought out from up underneath me. The cousins that I thought were my cousins were not my cousins. And I had come to the realization I may never find out who I was supposed to be. And I was ready to give up. And he said, give it one more chance. Pay for it one more time. And within 2 to 3 weeks, I got a sister that I was not expecting.
And this has nothing to do with our company. It's other than the fact that we're there for you and trying to make you understand that you're going to have to wait. And we do have a lot of cases where we have to wait for a closer relative. And it's beyond our control. And people sometimes ask us, well, why did you take this case in the first place? Because we thought we could solve it. That's why. And you were very patient. You didn't get angry with us. And sometimes we put these things on the back burner, but we're always looking at your results and sometimes trying to figure out another way to solve these cases. But in yours, since you had no other information that we can use our investigative skills for, we couldn't use that in this case. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to talk about the meeting between the two of you, which was recent. So we'll be right back with Finding Family DNA.
Jay is amazing. He's incredible. I can't say enough. I gave him barely any information to go with. And in under an hour, I found my brother. Like, it's honestly insane. And all I can say is if you're considering it, if this is something that you have on your heart, but you don't know what to do or you're nervous, it's okay to be nervous. Just go with Jay. He'll make you comfortable and he'll be with you the whole step of the way.
This is Jay Rosenzweig, the founder and CEO of BirthParentFinder.com. Sometimes the missing piece of your life is a person you've never met. For over 2 decades, our team of expert investigators and genealogists at BirthParentFinder.com has relied on the power of DNA and genetic genealogy to reconnect thousands of families separated by time, distance, and circumstance. Visit BirthParentFinder.com and begin your journey today. Your family isn't lost, it's waiting to be found. We're back with Finding Family DNA with our guest, Linda Burleson, and her newly found sister, Diane Bennett. And you guys met recently. Where did you meet?
Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I was wanting to meet her that weekend. And we spoke. It was 2 weeks later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And asked if it was okay for me to come to Supply. And my fiance and I got a little cottage there, and we took off from Mississippi to Supply to meet her, and it was natural. I mean, it was a blessing. My heart has been it's just bursting with love to know that I've got a sister so receptive. And we have similarities. And the family I was raised in were jet black-headed. And I've always said I was the milkman's daughter. So I found who I looked like. I found somebody that looked like me. And that was my piece to my puzzle that completed it.
And Linda, you actually had a feeling all these years that you were out of place, that this was not your family.
Correct.
Wow. And how about
I said it in front of my mom and dad all the time. I said I was a milkman's daughter, but no one ever acknowledged it. No one ever said anything different. It was just like it was sort of a joke.
And that's the way it was back in the 50s and 60s. We find out through these other cases. It's just those were the decades where this happened, where people kept it a secret. They didn't know DNA was going to exist. And as a matter of fact, just this weekend, I had a case where we figured out, got the DNA results, and we figured out who the birth father was. And we realized that the birth father probably had no idea that he had a son out of wedlock. So he obviously the guy was still alive. I contacted him, and it didn't go like yours where I contacted Diane. It went, first of all, shame on you for contacting me. It's a holiday weekend. Well, you got to call him sometime. And how'd you get my phone number? With Diane, it worked differently because, like you said, Diane, your phone number, you're a realtor, your phone number's all over the place. That was easy. And the guy acknowledged he knew the birth mother. He went to school with her. So that's right there. He's got to be the guy. And he wanted nothing to do with this, which we kind of knew going in. And what he did was, after 24 hours, realizing that we're a legitimate company, he provided me with medical history information. And I know you probably got all that from Diane, didn't you?
We did.
And that's another thing you thought about all these years, right? Going to your doctor and your doctor says, what can you tell me about your family's medical history? You only knew your maternal side, and you probably gave him your father's side without even knowing that's real, right?
I did, and it hurt when I had to go back to my doctors and say, wipe out my daddy's side. So this last time I went to the doctor, I got to put down my biological father's history. So it was like completion.
And you have to thank Diane for that, because, again, without Diane, we would not be here today.
Correct.
So, Diane, tell me about your experience when Linda came to see you, and where you live as in the North Carolina coast, right?
Yeah. Yes. We live about 10 hours away from where Linda is. Yep.
So what was that experience like, that her time with you?
Oh, it was so fun. It was like we had known each other for our entire life. We had a blast. And our respective guys got along. And so we just had a fabulous weekend. It was fun. We walked on the beach and went to a festival and ate and just had a great time. It was way too short, though, I can tell you that. So we're going to work on that, though.
Now,
and the guys are happy for us also.
They are. Yes, they are very supportive and very happy.
Now, you're both married, or Linda, you have a fiance or?
A fiance, yes, sir.
Okay, do you all have kids?
So,
yep.
Children?
Yep. Yeah, I have 2 of my own children, 5 grandchildren.
And have they met Linda?
Not yet. We did a Zoom call with some of them. My family's like herding cats, so it's so we had several of my. Well, we had a couple of my nephews and my former sister-in-law, who is my best friend forever. She's the closest thing I ever had to a sister until now. So she was on the Zoom call, and I introduced Linda on my mother's side of the family. Bear in mind, I am the last relative on my dad's side, other than my two nephews and my 2 children. So there was really, no one to introduce her to on that side, but my mother's side of the family was very, very close with all of our relatives, and they're very loving and kind. So I connected her with our family Facebook page too. So they've all been reaching out as well. And so it's just kind of trying to get everyone introduced. And we're having, the 4th of July is my husband's birthday, my grandson's birthday, and we're going to have a little mini family reunion. Linda Gell's going to come. So we're excited about that. So she'll get to meet more of the family then.
And we've already booked a cruise together.
We did.
That's wonderful. Linda, you don't have any children then, do you?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
And have they spoken to the family?
Have they what?
Have they spoken to Diane's children at all, or?
No. We were all together last night, and I did a little video and sent to her.
And it was awesome.
But when I found out that I was not my daddy's, my children were not shocked at all, because they said, Mom, you always said you was a milkman's daughter. So they were not shocked at all.
But it does affect them because that's part of their medical history also. They need to know that on your paternal side.
Yes.
Oh, tell him about the arthritis.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
My daughter has, since she's been about 20, she's had the rheumatoid arthritis. And so she's dealt with that all these years. And so mine and Diane's father had rheumatoid arthritis. So now we know where that comes from.
Right. And you would have known about that years ago, wouldn't you? If you knew who your birth father was, you would have had that information.
Correct. Right. Correct. We just figured it was one of those things. Oh, well, it just happened. Not that it was inherited, because we had no clue.
Right. So you told me about 4th of July. You told me about the cruise. What else you have going forward between both your families? What does the future hold for both of you?
Travel.
For travel, yes. I still have family in Houston, Texas, so she does. I have nephews in Houston, Texas now.
You do. Yep.
So I have to meet them, and I get to see my mom's side of the family in Houston, Texas. So we need to do a road trip. Yeah,
I've only been to Houston once, drove through it to go on a cruise to Galveston. And I don't really have anything to talk about Houston. I did hear the food is very good in Houston. Never
Great
been
food.
to Mississippi, and I've been to North Carolina once, and that was in the Raleigh-Durham area. And it was great. But your story is so heartwarming. Like I said, this doesn't always work out this way. And before we end this, and again, thank you both for being here. I just want to ask you honestly, because sometimes people are so frustrated with our services because they look at these heartwarming stories. They watch these episodes of our show. They see our posts on social media of what we do and reunite people. I don't know if you saw these things for the past 5 years, and you said you did get frustrated. What did you really feel about our efforts? And be honest with me, because I can take it. Our efforts over the past 5 years leading up to this.
I had, besides you, I also reached out to DNA Angels. So I knew it was legit because they kept coming up with blocks. It was like there was a total wall that no one could get past. Everyone said the same thing. It was going to take a very close connection to find out who I was supposed to be.
And it's 5.5 years later, we're here. And
yes.
I know sometimes people want it to go quicker, but we just don't have any control over this. And today, looking back at this, having Misty on my team, and she's amazing, we probably would not have taken this case right away. Today, with those DNA matches, we would have probably passed on it and said, wait till you get a closer match. But 2020, this was during the pandemic. We were getting a lot of cases, and we said, sure, we can probably solve it. But it's just one of those cases, and I think this is the oldest one we've had in our system. There was one from 2022 that we recently solved. We may have her on. She did meet her birth father recently. We may have her on our show. And again, another one who was very patient with us. And that was a case that was solved with DNA. It wasn't, a DNA match did pop up, but it was still pretty far down the line. But that match solved that case, and hopefully we can get her on the show sooner than later. But before we go, any message either one of you want to share with our audience about the hope you've had, the prayers you've made, and how this worked out? So anyone want to start first?
On my part, because I was almost giving up, like I say, 2 to 3 weeks, I would have been off. Tonight, I would advise anybody, don't give up hope. You never know when someone else will take a DNA test, that it could connect you to that right person. And then have an extended family that will make your heart so happy.
Well, I guess for me, I mean, it's obviously a totally different situation. I had no idea, and I wasn't looking for a sibling. But I can tell you that I feel so different now, and Linda may be able to explain it, but I couldn't explain it to anyone else. And I have a wonderful family on my husband's side of the family, and they've always treated me so well. But stepping back, and many times I looked at some of them with a little bit of envy, because my husband has a great relationship with his sisters, and and they all get along great, and they have family, and there's 5 of them, and and so and not to sound like a pity party, but I really never had any of that. So that's the thing that's special to me, and the idea that and I'm learning how to be a sister. I'm going to have to learn how to be a sister, but it's interesting, because there are many times that I want to pick up the phone and call Linda and say, "Hey, I was thinking about this," and so that's I'm starting to feel that, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to the future.
I am too, definitely.
And just looking at the smiles on both your faces, I do see a resemblance, a big time resemblance. I know there's a 8-year gap between your ages, but you do look very similar, and you are siblings.
Yep.
And again, thank you both for being here on episode 45 of our show. And we'll see everyone next time. And again, please subscribe to our show, because we have reached 10,000 subscribers. We'll see you next time.